Welcome to Writer's Digest Presents. Hosted by the editors of Writer's Digest, this monthly podcast features conversations with writing and publishing experts whose insights will help ignite your creative vision, hone your skills, build your platform, and get your work out into the world.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael Woodson, and welcome to this episode of Writer's Digest Presents, where we are continuing our quasi-series of editor on editor chats. And today I am speaking with Writer's Digest's editor-in-chief, Amy Jones. And we talk about kind of everything. And it started as sort of a place of, in contrast to my conversation with Moriah Richard, where we talked about reading audits and sort of doing what you can to broaden your reading throughout the year. And Amy and I came at this conversation thinking about how to read very specifically the books that you are interested in writing, and how taking some time to study the books that are going to help inspire your writing. And it's the kind of reading I tend towards. I either knowingly or unknowingly am reading like a writer, trying to. And so we spent a lot of time talking about the kinds of books that help us in different ways, how to let drama live on the page and then move away from it, the books that help us do that. And then we end it with a lovely conversation about AI and how much we hate AI. So it's a really fun conversation. But before we get into it, I wanted to remind you that the Writer's Digest annual conference is back. We will be in New Brunswick, New Jersey from July 23rd through the 25th. It is one of my very favorite things we do at Writer's Digest. You get to be in conversation with agents and authors. You learn so much about writing, incredible keynotes, and we get to hang out with all of you. And we learn something. It's crazy that I get to call it my job. I'm running between sessions, making sure they're on time, but then I'm also taking notes and learning something. And I always go home with a better sense of how to move forward with my project. So I really hope we see you there. You can register at writersdigestconference.com. So yeah, please, I hope to see you there this summer. But anyway, without further ado, Writer's Digest presents Amy Jones. Hi, Amy.
Hey, Michael.
How's it going? I'm doing well. It's, at the time of recording, this is opening day in Cincinnati, which is apparently a big deal. And I've never once been, and I have no intention of ever going, but I'm happy for everybody. It feels like a introduction into spring for most people here. Yeah.
I hear about it on the news, but not a baseball person.
Okay, so is this a Cincinnati specific thing? I just assumed opening day ceremonies was massive everywhere. This is probably really horrible to say.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's how little I know about baseball.
Me too. It's not my thing. I have
learned there is one sport that I have learned to enjoy.
And it is?
Football. Soccer football.
Amy, same. It's the only sport that I care about at all. Yeah. And I credit Ted Lasso and Welcome to Wrexham in building my obsession. And now my obsession light. People love it way more than I do. But we make sure to go to a couple FC games a year, and it's such a delight.
I haven't been to an FC
game. You
game.
have to go.
I've been following Premier League.
Can I tell you?
West Ham.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. Before the whole Ted Lasso.
Yes, of course.
Before they appeared in Ted Lasso.
Yes. Yeah. An OG.
But also Fiorentina.
Sure.
In Florence.
Of course, because it's within your blood. Yeah.
It is now.
The thing about FC games that I love is that they are if they go over very barely. And so it's a lovely, we've gone to games in the middle of the week, and I'm internally ancient because I want to be home in bed by a certain time. Sure. And they end pretty much exactly at the same time every game.
Mm-hmm. This is what I love about soccer. There is a set time period.
Yes.
There are no commercials except for the 15-minute break in the middle.
Yes.
So until there's extra time, you know exactly how long you're going to be there.
Totally.
It is not going to be a 4-hour
No.
Super Bowl thing with commercials every minute and a half.
And literally, yes. I have a friend who, I haven't been to like a professional football game since I was a kid. My dad loves like American football. And I forgot like the experience of it. And I was asking my friend Mark, this is forever ago, like, are they fun? He was like, not real. Like there's so much starting and stopping that like, it's more fun to see like, I don't know, like our vision of like Friday Night Lights is not the same thing as like a professional football game, because there's a lot of, I hadn't thought about that. Like the commercial breaks and just like, yeah, it's so annoying. But anyway, enough about sports. This is way longer. I cannot believe we started the episode like this.
This is more that I've talked about sports like,
in my life,
ever.
Probably. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I have therapy on Saturday. I'm going to tell them about this. Like, what's happening?
Excellent.
What are we talking about today?
So I listened to your podcast episode with Moriah that was, I think, maybe in February.
Yes.
About doing reading audits and seeing where the gaps are in what you read. And as I sat there and listened to it, I realized I had been doing the exact opposite thing for probably the past year. You know, usually I like to read widely. And, I mean, of course, I've got my favorite genres, but for this job, I like to sort of have an idea of what's going on. And I haven't read a romantasy yet, but I've got one. I've got Jean Kwok's back there that I need to read. But I realized in the past year, I've really narrowed down what I've been reading. And it's because I started working on a project of my own. Okay. And I got stuck.
Yeah.
I got
on the project?
Stuck on the project.
Gotcha. So it sounds like right now you're prioritizing something we talk about at Writer's Digest and Writer's Digest University a lot, which is like to read like a writer.
And I thought I had been doing that kind of all of my life.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to write, and I've always felt very inadequate with my writing skills. And so I always thought I need to read more. I need to consume more books, read more books to see what other people are doing. But as I started writing my own project, I realized there are very specific things that I need to look at, that I need to see what other writers do for what I want to write. Just so I know what the options are.
Yeah, and also to like, because I am primarily doing the kind of reading you're talking about right now, and with my chat with Moriah, which I really loved that conversation, because it highlighted a lot of places I could get better at, but also it helped me understand how, if I'm doing a reading audit, what does that look like for me? And it does look like I'm still kind of staying in my lane of what I'm interested in. Just within that interest, I'm trying to maybe expand just sort of like what the subjects are. Like if I'm interested particularly in contemporary and literary fiction, within that genre, am I exploring what people are covering that aren't just necessarily a slice of life or like character driven? And in the last, to sort of go off what you're saying, I have learned that in my writing, my personal writing, if I'm writing what I know very well, my writing kind of suffers, which is like, I know we're supposed to write what we know, or that's advice is to write what you know. But if I'm writing characters that are editors or work in publishing in some way, my personal opinion of my writing is that it suffers because I'm not trying very hard because it's something that I know very well. And I'm also like taking the easy way out because I don't want to do any research. And so in the last couple of years, how I've barely expanded my reading within my interest, my personal genre interests is I've realized I'm reading a lot of literary sci-fi because it's something that I just like know nothing about. Like I read Orbital?
Is that what it's called? Samantha Harvey.
Yeah, and which is like science fiction, but like no question is it anything other than literary fiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um,
Gorgeous
so
book, by the way.
and it's so teeny tiny, and like it doesn't feel that way when you're reading it. There's so much story packed into that book. So I think I'm more aligned with this kind of reading that I do, even if I'm not aware of the fact that I'm hoping it helps me with my writing. You know,
And I think that's, I think I've gotten a little more granular than that, because so I like to read literary fiction too.
Yeah.
You know that I do. But what I'm writing is like a family story.
yeah, of
So
course.
I have been really focusing in on reading literary and contemporary novels that focus on family
Yes,
and how family is portrayed and the drama that happens
totally.
in families, and looking at things like of course there's going to be a dramatic incident,
Yeah,
but where do the writers start? Is it way before the dramatic incident happens? Is it at that moment? Is that the opening scene?
right.
Has it
Interesting.
happened in the past and the author is exploring the fallout from that dramatic scene, and we see that incident in flashbacks? And who gets to tell the story? Is it the person who participates in this dramatic event, who creates the fallout, that tells the story? Is it the people who feel the effects of it? Is it one person? Is it multiple people? Are we seeing it from different angles? How does time pass?
Oh, this is.
I love the idea of how does time pass.
It's such a mystery to me. I don't know how authors do it so well. It is my number one crutch is how to pass time. I get stuck in a scene, like the minute by minute. In my brain, I'm like, I know I need to move on, but I can't move on. Like, why am I stuck in this moment? Oh God, it is. I think that is like, in both ways. Like when an author does spend a lot of time in a particular amount of time, like maybe even like long books that are about a little bit of time, genius. I don't know how they do it. Short books that span decades. I'm like, how do they do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
My readers don't need to know what time my character brushed his teeth. Like, move on, Michael. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love what you're saying about like dramatic moments and where they are and where an author starts with them, because it's weird. I'm also kind of trying to work on a family story right now. And, there is a book in particular that really inspired me to try and unlock this for myself. And in particular, the drama of the story. It was an interesting way that it unfolded, because it starts really like with an incident that has happened. And then that incident isn't talked about really, other than like maybe two other times in this book. And you, as the reader, like it really, I guess I should say it was the bee sting. And I know you've read that, but like the book starts with a murder suicide that happens, that then the characters talk about but are not involved with at all. And then maybe two other times that murder suicide is mentioned in this nearly 700-page book. And so you have the expectation that that's what the book's drama is going to be about, and then it's about a lot of other drama. And that was really fun to read. It was so surprising in that way. And I'm trying to use that to unlock like how to use an incident to start a story dramatically, but then like let the story's own drama play out. Is something I'm trying to do right now. So which I agree with you. I'm looking for books that are doing that right now.
Yeah. We talked about time passing in our Slack chat the other day.
Yeah.
And whenever I think about time passing, I always think of To the Lighthouse.
I
And
thought I had it with me.
that period in the middle.
Yes.
Time passes.
Yeah,
And
right.
There's 10 years that pass, and those 10 little sections that kind of but not really show you what has happened
Right.
during those 10 years, and then you jump back to it. And none of the contemporary books that I've read lately do anything remotely
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
It's more like they jump in and out of
Totally.
the characters' lives
Yep.
over time. So we see little important scenes from this period. And I'm still trying to figure out how I want to approach that.
And also just like, because that's such a classic. And I don't know if you're this way, but I often, there's so much noise in my head of industry talk, like what to write, how to write it, what readers want, even within like the kind of writing I want to do. And so whenever I'm inspired by something that happens to be a classic, there's a part of my brain that says like, but no one's writing that way anymore because readers don't have the patience to read that anymore. But I'm like, but I do. Like I reread To the Lighthouse 2 years ago, maybe. So I struggle with like silencing those rules and writing what I want to write, especially with passing time. I have a question for you. Have you read An American Marriage?
Yes.
That's
it has been a very, very long time. So don't ask me specifics.
Well, but this conversation reminded me of how brilliantly time passes in that book, because I have it right here. It's not very long, and there's a section, I don't want to give anything away, but there's a section of time where a character is stuck in a place for 5 years, and it passes brilliantly. And there's a tool that Tayari Jones uses to help pass time quickly. And that's also another book that I'm like, okay, I need to study that because that was done really well.
Yeah. Well, now I need to reread that.
Yeah, you should.
Going back to older books, we've been seeing a lot of Natalia Ginzburg, the Italian writer. Her work has been republished in the United States quite a bit lately. And the New York Review of Books did one. Gosh, and I'm trying to look for it. I don't see it. I was like, it's not here. It was Family Lexicon. And I thought, it's about family. It's about family over time. I started reading it. This is not at all how people, aside from the fact that it is translated, it is also decades old.
Oh, totally.
So the way it was written, even putting aside translation, is so very, very different than how people are writing now. So I think, it did reinforce to me like that it's super enjoyable to read.
Yeah.
Those older books. But in terms of looking at writing something current, I understand even more why agents are so interested in comp titles from the past year or two.
Okay, so as we're talking about this, sort of in a contrast to doing reading audits, you said this has been sort of your reading experience last year. Is it something that a book in particular set you sort of off to the races with this? Because that's how it is for me. Like when I realize I'm reaching for books that are going to help me with my writing, it's because a book I read really inspired me and was like, oh, okay, I need to look for this.
Yeah. I have it here.
Perfect.
Commonwealth.
Oh,
by Ann Patchett.
You and I are on the same wavelength. Like that is on my TBR this year. I need to finally read it.
Okay, if you loved The Bee Sting.
Yeah, loved The Bee Sting.
You need to read this. And I heard on Ann Patchett's bookstore Facebook page, she always does those, if it's new to you.
Totally.
Things where, it's a book from a while ago, but I think The Bee Sting was coming out in paperback and she was recommending it. And so I looked it up and somehow Commonwealth showed up in, you might also like, as I was looking at it, and I read the description of it and I was like, this is perfect. This is so very much like what I want to write just by the description. And so I started with that, and that it really did set me off into a little rabbit hole, I guess. And I did use those kinds of you might also like type features
totally
with this book after I read it. to see what other things are similar. And of course, I mean, so many of Ann Patchett's books are about family and family dynamics and how they shift over time.
Yes. Have you read The Dutch House?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
That one really, like on purpose, I struggled with, in the sense of like, these are really complicated relationships and I have big feelings about them. And she's taking me to task about it. Like that was a really, that book I think about a lot in the larger conversation of like historical fiction and literary fiction, because it read, I don't know how you feel, but it read so contemporary to me. Like things that feel historical fiction-y, it didn't do a lot of that. Like it read very like modern storytelling in a way that really surprised me and was really refreshing. And I was like, I kept having to remind myself like this takes place at this time, but that's another one that spans so many decades.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What's the other one of hers that Tom Lake?
I haven't read Tom Lake yet either.
Also very interesting family drama. Very, very different from Dutch House, but it's more about a mother's relationship with what she's willing to share with her children about her past, which is really interesting to me because I think about like, what do I know about my mother? What do I know about my grandmothers? What are they willing to share with me about their childhoods, their youth, their high school experiences, if they had them? Because, well, one of my grandmothers didn't finish high school. So she had a very, very different experience, and she doesn't really talk about that an awful lot.
Yeah.
So I loved the way that book kind of explored that, and the way the daughters got the information out of their mother.
Yeah. There is a real through line here for you in this moment. Like, because what I've experienced in this, doing this kind of reading, it either is really helpful or it, like I'm chasing a feeling that I already got, and in not getting it again, do I start to feel a little bit disappointed? Like, so I've had to like, over time, if a book has inspired me in a certain way, it's usually how they wrote it, not necessarily. I guess it just depends. Like when I read, shocker, I'm going to bring up Lauren Groff. When I read Fates and Furies, I was chasing that feeling for so long after that, and I kept not finding it. And of course, because that book like changed reading for me. And so I had to be like, stop looking for a replica of this. Like, if people loved Fates and Furies, what else did they read that they loved? It's not going to be like Fates and Furies, but they also loved it, you know? And sort of in that way, like, to your point, but getting like sort of more granular about it, like Fates and Furies for me is like here, and then here's all the books I've read it that like, even if it doesn't exactly remind me of Fates and Furies, it does something similar enough that like, okay, how did they pass time? Or okay, how did they write about like seasons changing or whatever? Because if I'm looking for the same exact feeling, I'm not going to find it. Like I got that already.
Yeah.
Which makes me, I have a question for you about your writing process professionally and creatively. Like for work, is it different than for yourself?
I think so, because what I write for work is often, it's shorter.
Yeah.
It's articles for the magazine, articles for the website, editor's letters for the magazine or for our conference programs. So that is always shorter. And I start by making notes and sort of, I guess, free writing is the way to think about it. Like word association kind of things. I'm thinking about the editor's letter that it talks about the theme for each issue of the magazine. Because I often have no idea what what to write about. So I think about word association with those themes and what kind of what comes
Wow.
up, what stories from my life comes up, and eventually it turns into a paragraph.
Totally. So does that, can you use that for your creative writing? Have you tried to?
So I did NaNoWriMo 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a story idea, and I just sat down every night and wrote the required word amount. So there wasn't time for
Yeah.
like word association kind of things.
True.
But what I learned about from that process was I need to outline. I need to have
glad you're
a
saying this.
place to go. Otherwise, here's my secret. I've never read Lord of the Rings.
Oh
Not
my-
my favorite. I
Amy-
watched the movies, didn't really care for them.
I literally
high
just
school.
finished Fellowship of the Ring for the first time, like a week
They
ago.
just walk a lot. I'm going to get so much.
No, listen.
for this.
The book is better than, or I'm sorry, the movie's better than the book. The book was lovely. I liked
Okay.
reading the book. It was really fun. I like a slow burn. I think it's a great example of a brilliant adaptation that changed virtually everything. Like, and still is Lord of the Rings. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm just like sick of us being on the same wavelength. Like,
Yeah.
let's be individuals every once in a while.
We'll try.
Okay.
So what happened with that when I just wrote every night without having a plan was my characters were doing the Lord of the Rings thing where they're just walking a lot.
Sure.
They're walking through the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not a fantasy, definitely not anything to
Wow.
do with the ring or whatever.
Sure.
But they were walking through a forest. Lots of walking. So I have to have an outline. And
Yeah.
that's where I started with this new project that I'm working on is very, very different than what I had been. But I needed an outline. I needed to create sort of character studies because they were kind of getting jumbled in my head.
Right.
I sat in on Jessica Berg's class at the our annual conference last year, and it was about high concept, and she was talking about setting and placing your story in a dynamic setting. And I was thinking, like, my story takes place in a small town, and really there's nothing special about it.
Sure.
So I have to think about what makes this town special
Totally.
and interesting, and why does it have to be set here
Totally.
of all the places? And I'm going to pull up another example. Buckeye by Patrick Ryan takes place in a teeny tiny town. I mean, not teeny tiny, but a smallish town in Ohio. It's imaginary.
Perfect.
But when you read the book, you understand why it takes place there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that there's anything super special about the town, is that there are details that the author has created that make the town interesting and unique, and the way the characters move through the town impact their lives and the decisions that they make. And so that's what I need to do with the setting for what I'm working on.
So is this something that you tackle? So I'm glad you're bringing this up, because my version of like reading like a writer in the past has never brought me much success, because I'm looking at something that is in its best form and then trying to immediately replicate that. Like my past process would be I'd sit in my office, or I'd go somewhere and I'd bring a couple of books that always inspire me, and I'd start to read it, and then I'd just try to let that soak up, and then I would just start writing, and and I would be writing in the way that I was trying to trick my brain into like skipping all of the drafts and almost just like transcribe what was I had already written in my brain, and that's just stupid. Like, it's dumb and stupid, and I like don't deserve my job if that's what I'm telling people to do. You know what I mean? Like, bad writing advice. And every single time I just come up against a wall because I've done no planning whatsoever. And only recently have I told myself, you have got to change your process. Like, you have to be comfortable with those first few messy drafts. And
Yeah.
because writing is not convenient. Like, it is inherently inconvenient, and the process
Yes.
is too. And so it's a long-winded way of saying, like, I need to start. I don't even know if I'll outline, but I just need a long form write whatever comes to my brain. If I have characters walking in a forest for 40 pages, like, that's fine, because that's my first messy draft, and I'll get it down to a paragraph eventually. So my question for you is, in your drafting process or your outlining process, are you taking it in steps? So when you're talking about setting, is that a separate drafting process? Like, you're sitting down, today I'm going to be drafting about setting.
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
For me, because I don't know, I was brushing my teeth one night and I was like, oh, this is the opening line.
Oh,
And I
love that
sat
feeling.
down and I started writing the opening scene, what I thought was going to be the opening scene. And then, I was so excited about having that forward momentum that I sat back down the next day and started filling out, working more on the outline. And I was like, that whole opening scene just won't work.
Totally. Wow.
It just won't work.
Yeah.
The logistics of where the characters are placed and who encounters who, it just isn't going to happen. So
Yeah.
I think I have to sit down and fill out those other parts, which is after that moment of discovery, I guess. My next several writing sessions were sitting down and filling out character thoughts. Like, who are these characters? What are their personalities? Why? I edited a book for Writer's Digest many years ago by David Corbett called The Compass of Character, and it was all about character motivations. His way of thinking about characters and why they act the way they do is, I think, some of the best writing instruction I've ever read. I love those books. And so that's what I spent so much time on those next few writing sessions, was fleshing out those characters and what they wanted from their lives. Why did they want those things? So it got into backstory too. And I think the next thing I have to do is setting.
Yeah.
And I've been dreading it.
Really? So
I'm
what do
so
you
much
think?
more interested in thinking about characters than where they are.
Okay, so that's okay.
But-
That's an interesting point you're making, because I feel really comfortable writing setting, and I am terrified of character, and in that, like, I just don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm good enough. I have therapy on Saturday, and I can get to, like, move on, Michael, when I'm like, okay, they know where they are. Like, the reader knows where they are. Move on. Get to the character. And I keep coming back to my brain and the bee sting as being a really great resource for you, because it is so much both of those things. Like, setting is so important in that book,
Yeah.
and how the characters are reacting to that setting is like huge, because that is also a book that is like intimate but epic, because the place is a very small town, and that is pivotal to the success of the story, is that it's like, no, we're special, like,
Yeah. I think after my last brainstorm session, I think I figured out, like, and thinking about Buckeye, because I live in Ohio. We live in Ohio. I grew up in a very small town.
Me too.
I mean, 2,000 to 3,000 people, which is much smaller than what I need to place my story, where I need to place my story. Currently live in Middletown, Ohio. Gotten a lot of attention in the past few years. Not quite what people think it is.
Yes.
But I think, given the time period that I am setting the opening of my story, and going back to what Middletown was like then, might be the size and scope of the place where I need to set my characters for the influence they need to have on the rest of the town, if that makes sense.
Totally. Did you read The Vaster Wilds?
Yes.
You was talking
I
about like
did.
walking in a forest for so long. Like, that's the whole book.
Yes.
So I thought maybe
Yes.
that might be.
Loved it.
Yeah, totally. And it is. I like talking about this because like we keep mentioning examples of books that are like almost the antithesis of so much writing advice people receive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's which ultimately I think is what other writing advice is like. Write the book you want to write. Like write the thing that you are called to write, and don't necessarily worry about how people are telling you to write a certain story, because trends change, market changes. Like you will.
Mm-hmm.
Don't write to be a New York Times bestseller. Write to find whatever audience is going to be interested in the story you're telling, you know?
Yeah. And I think kind of like what you were talking about, I have to keep telling myself that it's okay to
Yes.
write really badly at the beginning.
Oh.
And to have to write multiple drafts.
It's actually impossible not to.
Yeah.
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 I have to remind myself that like I am not special. I will write bad. I have to write poorly. Yeah.
And that the time that I put into those earlier drafts and learning what works in this particular story that I'm telling, not what Ann Patchett is telling,
Right.
not what Patrick Ryan is telling.
Mm-hmm.
These other examples, Paul Murray, what the story that they're telling is so very different than what I'm telling. So even if I'm looking to them for examples, I've got to go through all of the earlier drafts
Completely.
to get to the good point.
Yes.
And I'm a person who I don't like to waste time.
Oh yeah, sure.
I always, when I go shopping, well, yeah, when I first started driving, it was the early 2000s and gas prices were pretty high, much like they are now. So I got very good at planning my route so that I
Wow.
wouldn't waste time and wouldn't waste gas.
Amazing.
And that has translated into,
Like professionally.
yeah. Every other aspect of my life. I have to tell myself that writing is a place
race.
where time is,
Or a marathon.
it's not a waste. Like,
yeah, sorry.
all those
That's how little I
drafts are not
run.
wasteful.
I was like, oh, yeah, a race is long, right?
Like, it's the getting there. It's the
Totally.
figuring all that out that makes the end product worthwhile. It's not who can get there fastest.
Totally. And like some writers, like I know right now, I have. Okay, before I say this, I have a question for you about the want of it all, because my want oscillates. Like sometimes I really want to be a published author, and other times I'm actually totally okay with that not happening for me. And I guess my want is I will always want to write, but my need to write for anyone other than myself fluctuates. So I'm just curious about what is your relationship with that?
I think we're very similar.
Yeah.
Michael, sorry. Because there have been periods in my life where, I have desperately wanted to be a published author. I want to hold the book in my hand. And I want it to be available to people to read. And then there are other times where I'm like, I'm okay just writing when I feel like it for myself.
Yeah.
And what I contribute to the world, this is getting really lofty.
No, totally.
Is going to be things like the books I edited. Like I worked on those. I can be proud of those for the author who wrote them and that I helped get it out there. Or I contributed to our magazine and it is out in the world and we have archives of it and it will last longer than I will.
Yeah.
Right now I am definitely at one of those points where I want it for myself.
Right.
I want to be published for myself. And the day-to-day gets in the way of that. And it's frustrating and I hate that. But it is my next goal, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for me, it's very similar. And I think a lot about a lot of authors say this, but the first time I heard it like to me was when I interviewed Brandon Taylor and his advice for writers for the magazine years ago now. But he had said for other writers, like his advice was like, don't be in a hurry. Like enjoy this period where it is just for you, because everything changes when it's not anymore. And that was like, oh, he's right. Like the goal is also like double-edged sword, because I love my privacy. I hate the idea of anybody knowing who I am beyond the people who I want to know who I am. And it's not even a fear of people not liking what I do. I actually don't care about that at all. Like if I like it, I'm satisfied. So I really struggle with loving that this thing is just for me and nobody's expecting anything from me. And also knowing what I want in the process. Like I know that I personally don't want to self-publish, and mainly because it's just so much work. Like I don't know how indie writers do it. Like they are responsible for all of it, and I don't want to do any of that.
All the parts.
Yes, like hats off to you. And I just don't want that. Like that's not the journey I want for myself. And so knowing that traditional publishing is so much harder, in that it's completely out of your control, I have to be satisfied with the possible reality that it won't happen for me. And so I think that keeping that in the back of my head is maybe a crutch I'm using to convince myself that I sometimes don't want it, because I'm just like, it might not happen for me.
Yeah. I've definitely had those same thoughts. Like, I won't allow myself to want it too much, because then I won't be disappointed if it doesn't.
When it doesn't happen, yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, we're again putting the cart before the horse here. Like, we have to write the thing. And to get back to the point, okay. So a lot of writing advice people give is to read, like constantly be reading, and I just think that just is, for me, I think the best possible writing advice, because I come to writing by way of loving to read. And I think that if reading is an arduous thing for you, however you're doing it, I'm not sure writing is where your heart really lies. And so I think like find the books, when you find a book that you love, like hone in on that and look like, I know we're supposed to read outside of our preferred genres, but if that's hard for you, just like really study the genre you are really, 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 really interested in, and figure out what you like about it, what you would change about it, and implement that into your own writing. Yeah.
And I mean, I absolutely agree with your saying. I think at some point in my life, I may have taken it too far.
Yeah.
Like my love for reading is so great that it is, and my
eclipses
feelings of inadequacy with my own skill have, I keep thinking, I'll just read more. I'll read more because I love it and I'm good at it.
Yes.
And then I run out of time to write. And at some point, Amy, now is the time to maybe not read so many books in a year and start writing one.
Yeah. Well, Josh and I, my husband and I, have this conversation all the time. For me, of like, I say this all the time. Like, if I'm going to write more, I have to sacrifice a little bit of reading.
Yep.
And my favorite time to read is in the morning. My best writing is in the morning. And so for my in my head, I am an all or nothing person. And so Josh really reminds me, like, you could tiptoe into this. Like, you don't have to go so hard. Like, one day a week, spend that time writing. Like, that feels fair and doable. And so that's my goal this year, is to spend one like tiptoe back into this one morning where I spend it, instead of reading, I spend it writing and longhand writing. I need to get off the computer.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a sort of journal notebook that I'm using for this purpose, because I have found when it's on the computer, I don't know.
not to talk about Lauren Groff too much, but she talked about how if she's writing on the computer, I think it was her, when she's writing on the computer, it reflects like too finished of a product.
Yeah.
And she gets in her head about it. And so the idea of writing it out in handwriting that you can't really read very well, like there's something, it's less, what's what I'm looking for? Like precious. It's a less precious thing, which in those early forms, it cannot be precious.
Right.
To your point, you thought you had the opening to your story. And, but were you less precious with it? Were you able to, was that an okay thing for you to be like, okay.
Well, it was on the computer. And so I got just a paragraph into it. Well, maybe a couple paragraphs, because technically there was some dialogue. But I wanted to immediately go back and revise.
Oh, I do that all
And
the
so
time.
I didn't get very far.
Yeah.
And I think what I like about handwriting is you have to keep going.
Truly.
I use pen, and while I did find an erasable pen that I enjoy, I've been specifically trying not to use that when I draft, because I want to keep going and not revise until I get further along.
Do you think you'll go back to your drafts? Do you think you'll reference them as you move forward?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do go back to previous drafts because there are little bits and pieces in there that I really like. And there's too much stuff going on in my head for me to retain all of that. So I have to go back and like, I can't even retain my characters' names at this point. I've changed them too many times, trying to find the right ones. And for me, the right ones also has to do with how long it takes me to write it out or type it out. Because I get too frustrated when it takes too long. Anyway, so I can't retain the previous drafts or information from the previous drafts. And there are things in there that I do think I want to include or that trigger a thought of a place I want to go in the story.
Is that like in real time happening for you where you're like, oh, that was good, I'm going to want to reference that later?
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like because this is new for me, like this process, and I'm going to take it seriously. But I wonder if, again, my Lord and Savior Lauren Groff, she writes a draft, doesn't look at it again, and she writes another one, doesn't look at that one, writes another one, doesn't look at that one, and then her point is like, the story lifts off the page that I remember, and what I don't remember is irrelevant to the story. That is a master at their craft. I'm nowhere near that. And I do think I would need to reference. So, okay, see, this is my problem. I listen to writing advice from authors that I love, and I'm like, well, it works for them, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And then it doesn't work for me, and I'm like, well, I'm a failure. So I just need to like adapt it. Yeah. So maybe but the idea of, again, writing is inconvenient, so maybe I need to get over that. But the idea of referencing something I already wrote feels so arduous, and I just want to move on. Yeah. So maybe I highlight, like if I liked that, highlight it,
Yeah, I don't like to reference what I've written before, because I just see everything that I don't like about it. But again, part of the drafting process.
Yeah,
which is an important part of writing.
Yes, because even doing this podcast, I've done something I've like severance to my brain where like when I'm looking at it and editing it, I pretend this is not me. I don't know who this is. So every stupid thing I say, that's someone else saying it. Yeah. And it makes it easier to do. And so I do think I need to do a similar thing with my drafts of being like, that person is in me, but like he is a little gremlin troll who like needed to get it out, and who I really am, and I'm going to make it better, I promise.
I love that. Yeah. I love that, because I do the same thing when it comes to videos of myself or audio of myself. There was a point in time when I had to edit those kinds of things a lot for my job, and I hated looking at myself, and I hated hearing myself, because it's, you've got that self-judgment thing going on. Yeah. But it never occurred to me to do that with writing.
Yeah, and me neither until this moment.
Well, moment of brilliance.
Thank you. Let's title that Moment of Brilliance.
Sort of the underlying theme of what we've been talking about for the past few minutes has been about the importance of drafting and getting through, like not getting through, but putting in the time to learn your craft and not taking the easy way out. And I don't want to talk about AI
Let's
a lot,
hear it.
but let's talk about AI
Please.
for just a minute, because
You and I are very passionate about this. Yeah.
We are very passionate about this.
And so I'll say the editorial team at Writer's Digest is very passionate about this, not just you and me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't even like the idea of even using AI for something like word choice.
Totally.
Bothers me, because I think I have learned so much by going to the dictionary. Merriam-Webster.com is amazing because they've got this little thesaurus feature. And I have learned so many new words by looking that up for myself and discovering new words. And even that basic of a thing is such an exciting part of being a human being.
Totally.
And like, why would you want to take that out?
I love entering this conversation in this direction because you're so right. I actually just saw someone online was talking about how people who mispronounce a word, they're mispronouncing it because they read it first.
Yeah.
So like maybe they're the smart ones. And
Exactly.
it's exactly, like I will never forget the first time I said the word macabre, because I'd only ever read it and I said it loudly and proudly, macabre. Okay.
Yes.
And I, like, my friend teased me about it, but then I was like, sorry, I've only ever read it. Like, I don't know. Like, and I wasn't 32. I was like 18, but
still.
Yeah. And it was, and even to this day, coming upon a word you've either read for the first time or used in a way that is so special, like in a book or an article, it feels like I've created a wrinkle in my brain. Like I'm just like, oh, that gonna use that, and can't wait to use that. And I agree with you completely that like even I feel very, very, very strongly about AI in the sense that it has no place whatsoever in a creative life that you're trying to build for yourself. I am not interested in your story that you wrote completely, if you wrote the whole thing, if ChatGPT helped you create the plot or the synopsis. I don't care. I'm sorry. Writing, take anything from this, writing is inconvenient. Being creative is hard. People are going to make you feel like it's the easiest thing in the world, and you might believe that because they're telling you that. It is so hard. And it should be. Like, and human error is so much more interesting than synthetic error. So like if I read a book and there is a mistake in it, I love feeling the presence of the author. If I'm reading something, which I've never read AI, but if I read something unknowingly it was AI and there are mistakes in it, it pisses me off. Like, so don't be afraid of mistakes. That's part of the process. Don't be afraid of public mistakes. Like your book will be worth millions one day because of it. And just write without the use of AI. Like, I don't know. It's just really, it really frustrates me that that's where we are right now.
You haven't read anything by AI. I have, not because I want to, but because it is foisted upon me. We get pitches to the magazine. We used to get them by email. The email inbox got absolutely inundated. And I've mentioned this before. So apologies if you've heard this from us, from me in the past. But we had to change our entire submission process to get rid of the AI garbage. So we created these Google forms for people to submit their article ideas. And we're getting AI submissions to that. And it is so identifiable because it all follows a pattern. You can see where the person behind the pitch has taken like the description of the theme that we want, fed it to ChatGPT or whatever, and it has spat out a an outline using similar words, and it follows a very specific outline. And it must be, it occurs to me now that these people must have copy and pasted the pitch because the description that we provide, because we get dozens of these pitches that are nearly identical. When I was in undergrad, I was my minor was in Victorian literature. And there was an essay that we read by John Ruskin that has like lived in my mind for a long time at this point. And it's called The Stones of Venice. And it's about architecture, the nature of Gothic. But there's a little section in it about commodification and skilled craftsmen. And it talks about beads and how glass beads are all the same. And it requires no like skill or effort to produce them. They're like mass produced by people, and that's sad. And then it talks about glass, like glasses or vases or more unique items. And they're going to be unique. And have errors and be interesting, and they're more exciting for the creators to create. And it was at a time when manufacturing was starting to increase and change the way people produced things. And that kind of makes me think about AI and writing now. Like AI is the little glass bead that is basically identical and not fun for anyone to create or to use. It doesn't bring joy. It takes the creativity and life and humanity out of it. And why?
Truly. Yes.
Why? So humanity has always been dealing with this. It's not a perfect analogy, but it's informed my thinking about it.
And I struggle with this idea that some people have in our industry and in every industry, which is, well, it's here. So like, let's stop talking about we don't want it here. It's here and we have to work with it. And here's how we work with it. And I just find that, really distasteful and frustrating, because it's coming for you too. Like no one's necessarily like exempt from this, because you seem to have a more neutral stance on it. Like doesn't make you more evolved than me. I think it suggests to me a sense of like looking out for one's self. That is not, I don't see that ending well for anyone. So I think that like, if it feels like you are in agreement with us and it feels like you're like screaming into the void, you really aren't. So most everyone is, like really frustrated by this idea that AI is, an inevitability that we have to, like sort of figure out how to work around. I think the bubble is breaking, and we know that the work is not easy, and we do it anyway. And so I'd say like do the hard work anyway, and AI will. It's not going to kill us because we won't let it. Yeah.
Well, and why let AI in to these parts of our lives that we should be enjoying? Like, so there was a video from, I don't even know when he recorded it, but Isaac Asimov had a little clip about like the future of technology and AI and what it should be doing for our lives and where it didn't belong. And I don't know a ton about Isaac Asimov. Haven't read his stuff. I think he's had some fairly problematic views on some things. But in this, he was like, let AI do the mundane things.
Yes.
Like, I want AI to do my laundry.
Yes.
And fold it for me.
Please. Clean out my
Do the dishes.
cabinet. Like, get rid of the food that's old.
Because I want all that time back.
Yes.
To spend on this.
Yes.
Because this is the fun stuff.
Completely. Like, I want to be a man of luxury, you know?
Yes.
Like in the olden days. And part of that is like spending time with my notebook, looking out at the sunrise. I agree with you completely. Anyway, I'm getting upset about it. Great way to start my day.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Sorry.
Okay, so when I'm thinking about reading like a writer, these are some books that have helped me for different reasons. And I'd be curious if you read these or your thoughts about them. So the first one, this is in no particular order. I'm saying first one because it's first on my list, is Real Life by Brandon Taylor. And this is a great example for me of a book that, first of all, I cannot believe this is a debut. It's so good. Came out in 2020. And he and I are very different writers. Like, what he's interested in writing, I could never write. Like, he is so much smarter than me. Most people are. But his, the way his sentences flow that are like reveal character, and character emotion is so fascinating. And, when I talked to him, he mentioned 2 pieces of inspiration that has helped his writing were like romance novels and reality television. And that is brilliant to me because when you read his books, you wouldn't necessarily think or know that. But then when you start to like dissect that a little bit, it's like, okay, the unabashed emotion in romance and the drama of reality television, I can see how he would pull those elements out and make them make sense for the kind of writing that he does. So his book and him in general have taught me how to, like, if I liked this thing, even if I'm not interested in it, like, what can I pull from it to help make my stories more lived in or more exciting or something, I find really interesting. Another book that I really, really love, and I've talked about a lot, is Another Brooklyn by Michael Woodson. And it's a teeny tiny little book that packs in a ton of story, like we were talking about. And her sentences I just could live in and swim in. And in terms of passing time, genius. Because this book is about female friendship, among other things. And it's not even 200 pages. And it reads like an epic. And so with particularly passing time, I learn a lot from Jacqueline Woodson, and in particular, Another Brooklyn. Another, I don't know if you've read this, another, hero of mine, Lydia Kiesling's debut, The Golden State. Because something I struggle with is feeling like if what I'm writing is interesting at all, or like boring and mundane. And the minute I started reading The Golden State, I was like, oh, she gets it. Like, she knows how to do this really well, because she writes like inertia with so much energy, and her time passing, she spends so much time in moments that, on the opposite side of like, Michael, move on, she also teaches me like, but when you want to slow down, like, slow down and you can make it interesting. The Golden State really changed things for me. I've already mentioned Fates and Furies a lot in American Marriage, so those are my other 2. But generally speaking, I think these all sort of are, so in contrast to like doing a reading audit, these feel very similar to me, even though they're so different. Yeah. And so I do think that, like, while reading audits are so good for your reading life, honing in on the kind of writing you do and finding books that will help you in different ways, I think is equally important.
Okay, so I mentioned Commonwealth by Ann Patchett. So all the books that I have for examples today go back to that idea of where does the dramatic family moment happen? Because, when I think about family stories, I'm like, kind of like you. Well, what is exciting about getting in this family's life? There's got to be something. And the rest of it is just the aftermath. But like, those are big topics. That they affect you as an individual, these moments in your life, and have ripple down effects for generations. So there's the way to make it interesting. Commonwealth, Ann Patchett, the moment that changes everything in these families' lives happens in the first chapter.
Wow.
And then it jumps ahead by years. And so you get to experience the aftermath, the effects of all of that. You don't see, like, the immediate fallout.
Totally.
You just see how it has affected things years down the road, which is a really fascinating way to approach it, I think. The other one that I was thinking about was Hello, Beautiful by Napolitano. Loved this book.
Loved that book.
But in terms of what I was looking at, the moment where things change, it doesn't happen until, I don't know, like a page 184.
Yeah.
So
and that's a big book.
It is. There's all this buildup.
And
then,
wow.
But the whole point is you get to know these people and their lives and the decisions, the way they want their lives to go. And then something happens that changes all of it.
Totally. All of it.
But you have to get there first.
Wow, that's a great example.
Yeah. And totally opposite from what Ann Patchett did in the other one. Yeah. This is a one that just came out. This is Not About Us, Allegra Goodman. So it starts off with these two women. Their younger sister is dying, and there's an incident with an apple cake. Okay. And it sets these two women on, like, they are angry with each other. And after their sister dies, they want nothing else to do with each other. And so I thought, well, that's a very dramatic thing to, like, separate you from your only remaining sibling. What could be so bad? So that's the first story in the book. And it's not a novel, but they're like they were published originally as separate short stories, most of them, but they're all about the same family. Okay. And I think she wrote some additional ones for the sake of this collection. But wow, each chapter is like a different part of the family, totally different story. And in most cases, they reference that moment between the two remaining matriarchs, but it doesn't always affect the characters that are telling that part of the story. It's just a thing that has happened in their wider family sphere. Yeah. Which is really interesting. And again, totally different from these other books that I read.
And it reminds me of how there's so much, like, the bee sting. Why is it called the bee sting? Why is the bee sting so important? Right. Like that sort of feeling of, like, how could a bee sting be this important? Yeah. It must be. I'm like already, like, my brain is like firing at all cylinders right now, trying to, like, think of, okay, even because anyway, we'll talk after this, because there is an idea I have for a story that feels similar, but go on.
Okay. The last one I forgot to bring the copy up, but it's Ann Patchett's new one that comes out this summer called Whistler. Also about family, and it is in that instance a car crash that happened years and years and years ago, and the characters didn't necessarily think that it affected their lives, but over the course of the story, you look back and get bits and pieces of what really happened that day, and how misunderstandings can really ruin things.
Totally.
if you don't talk about them. But also, like, there are things that
Wow.
you intentionally
Yeah.
don't want to share.
Yeah. Again,
And
producing.
how to keeping those secrets change things. It was a fantastic book. Made me cry multiple times.
Really?
Not in like not in a sappy way, but like these feel like real people.
Yes.
And I love them so much. It was a fantastic book.
You know that like miscommunication or like misunderstanding. Did you read Normal People?
I don't think so.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, there's a you should. I actually think I really liked the book. I think the miniseries is spectacular. It's another great adaptation. But there's a miscommunication that affects everything, like everything, and it is done. Miscommunication can, as a reader, annoy me.
Same.
Mainly because I am a deeply external processor. Like, you will never misunderstand me. Like, I say everything I think, not like in a mean way. Just like,
Yeah.
I worry about being misunderstood. And this was done. It felt like a dance. Like, they are just miscommunicating in a way where like the same, the effects of the miscommunication had the same like end, but for different reasons. And
Yeah. The miscommunication trope has
I
to
guess,
be
yeah.
really well done
I
for me to
completely agree.
like it. Like in romance, it's hard for me to
Yeah, don't get me started.
to like that one because you're like, just talk to each
Just
other.
talk. Just say it. Just talk. You're wildly overreacting. Just talk.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. But there are ways that it can be
I agree.
like really
You know what?
interesting and thoughtful.
That's
and
another
meaningful.
great reason to look towards classics because as we talk about tropes, we should end this, but
I know.
tropes are like come from somewhere, and I think so. Let's talk about romance. Jane Austen, I think, is like the grandmother of romance, and she does miscommunication. She did miscommunication. Does obviously brilliantly. I mean, I think we could say she invented it. Like, and I think because it was a different time, or like literally a different time,
Yeah.
where we're maybe not. Where we can't text people immediately, we can't call people, can't hang up the phone. So like, if there's a miscommunication, they might not know it for months. Like,
Yeah. And at that point, you've had so much time in your head to create your own narrative of
to
what
believe
happened.
it completely.
Yeah.
There's a great miscommunication moment in Fates and Furies. You've read Fates and Furies, right?
I have. Yes.
So-
It's been a while.
Okay, but I think okay. So Lotto is his name.
Yes.
Lotto's on a panel and he's killing it, and then he isn't killing it, and he is like really just your typical man. And then there's a sequence that is really, I think, so brave as an author, where he has to like walk from where the conference was back to his hotel, and it's miles and miles and miles and miles.
Oh, yeah.
And he spends that entire time. First, he feels like so awful. He can't believe he did it. And the longer he's walking, the more he starts to convince himself, like, actually, no way, I was right. Like, and by the time he gets to his hotel where Mathilde is, like, he is so unbelievably stubborn and in physical pain, and she is still really hurt. Anyway, that feels like a offshoot of miscommunication that I thought was done really brilliantly.
I forgot all about that scene, but you're right.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we had a long talk about that at book club, and
Very nice.
the straight men were on his side and the rest of us weren't. But anyway, Amy, this was lovely. I love catching up with you.
was.
Do you want them to find you anywhere, or like, can they just find you at writersdigest.com?
I mean, I have Instagram. It's a lot of pictures of my cats.
Yeah.
And some pictures of books that I've read.
Yes, of course.
So, but
and the
coming up,
magazine.
there might be pictures of the Writer's Digest retreat to Italy,
Perfect.
which I will be leaving to go to next week.
Very soon. Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks, Amy.
Thank you. It was good fun. Thanks for listening to Writer's Digest Presents. Visit us online at writersdigest.com and make sure to follow us on social media at Writer's Digest for daily updates on articles, online courses, live events, and more. See you next time.